Time. All right, welcome everybody. This is it. It's lunch and learn time. It's Friday. We're doing Power BI data visualization with Deneb and ChatGPT. Two of my favorite things at the moment, I have to say. A lot of fun. Um, if you are looking at this and wondering how I got this far, that's because there's 2 other hour sessions that you have to see to get it to this bit. So go to the previous videos. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're just joining us for the first time and you're live, then you'll pick it up pretty quickly anyway. There's nothing too special about what I'm doing. There's no wizardry involved, but it is kind of interesting to see the workflow from the beginning. So it might be worth going back and checking it out afterwards. That's it. We're going to fix up this is our last, well, I think theoretically we shouldn't have to do another session on this. We should be able to finish our thing. What we want to do today is we want to fix up our lower data labels down here to make them the same as the upper ones. We want the vertical lines. I want to increase this to be every 5 degrees. I want to remove these labels, these axes labels here. I don't think they're necessary. I want to change the color of the area down below so it's not blue. I want it to be gray, just like in the original. So what we're doing is replicating this graph from the New York Times doing the weather in New York City back in the day that was in Tufty's books. We'll need to add our normal line into our bottom precipitation graph. And I think if we do all of that, we also want to add raindrops, which is the thing that we haven't done in either of these, but it is in my original version of this, but it's kind of hidden in behind. So if we look at my first attempt at this back in the day, when I first did this, I added these blue little things to show how much rain there was on any given day. So we want to invert that, have it coming from the ceiling. I don't know if I want it from the ceiling here or from the ceiling there. We'll decide that as we go. And then we want to put little SVG droplets on them. That's my final thing. If I can do all of that, I think that's amazing. And then that will be maybe the perfect visualization, if not somewhere near the perfect visualization. All right. We're going to get started. People are here. Kerry's here. Welcome, Kerry.
Hello. Sorry, my data is capped, so it took me ages to try and initialize.
The old data cap. No, that's all good. No drama. What was I had an initial question. I can't remember what it was. I think it was to do with these axes labels. Presumably, I can remove these in Deneb. That's the thing.
Yep, that's the thing.
Cool. I don't think I had any other questionnaires from last time. I haven't made any changes to the code that you guys saw last time, except for I did change the width from 1200 to 1100. I thought it was just a little bit too wide, so I just manually changed the width of each of the charts here. So that's the only change I've made. So I will have to tell ChatGPT about that. I'll copy all of this code and paste it back in so that they know. So that old Vincent Vega light knows what's going on. Okay. Speaking of ChatGPT, I make sure I have to log in. I'm going to do a login. All right. Let me log in quickly. Oh, I've got a new login screen. Vincent Vega, here he is. We're back. Okay. So the last piece of code, it had 1200 width. I might just tell it that it's now 1100 and that'll be okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get this chart looking the same as this chart in terms of the data labels. And so I'm going to do that. So I'm just do one step at a time, like always. Let's say hello to Vincent. Hello. Whoa, that was a bit crazy. Hello, many L's. We are back from something that you don't realize you have no concept of time. Here is the latest code. We'd like the axes labels of the lower chart to match the upper chart labels. So with month names and lines and stuff. Can we do this? See how Vincent's feeling today. All right, he's back. All right. Make the axis labels of the lower chart match the upper chart. We simply need to apply the same axis, x-axis encoding properties of the x-axis to the lower chart, which makes sense. So he's kept the 1100, which is nice. So we've got x-axis encoding properties. So if I can remember how this works, he's still writing code. There's the y encoding with the max temp. That's a bar chart. That's a bar chart. So at some point you must be able to, you must be able to put where the x-axis is. There's the y field. Oh, here we go. X field, x-axis. Here it is.
Sorry, I thought that.
Okay, so this is the format. Is this %b was the changing it to the month name only. We have the title of date. So if I just remove this title, is that going to just remove that mark that has the date title on it, or do I need to do something more sophisticated than that?
A little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah, okay,
Agreed.
cool. All right. All right, axis, title, temperature. So that's the y-axis title. Okay, and then down the bottom, we've got the x-axis date, title, %b, dark gray, grid color, tick count. This is the question I had. What does tick count mean, and how does it affect the chart?
So I thought Daniel might have a go at this one.
I was happy to answer.
Off you go.
We did talk about it a bit last week. So tick count is a best effort guess based on the size of the chart to try and cap the number of ticks or lines on the axis. So you're pretty lucky that it worked, to be honest. Normally it's an odd number. I think it's an odd number there, isn't it? Because you got January twice.
Yeah.
And that's a D3 thing. So yeah, normally you specify what my ideal number of ticks is, and Vega will do its best to resolve it.
So it's just going to divide it up evenly into that many ticks. Is that what we?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah. Okay. And so it just so happens that I happen to be covering a full year, and therefore, if we divide a year up evenly, so I'm tipping that, let's say February, for example, has too many days in it, because it's not detecting the end of February and putting a line there, is it? It's just dividing the whole lot up into 12. So it's not technically correct. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe we can see if we can resolve that. That would be tricky.
I can help you with prompts for that if you want to try that in a bit.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I thought it was
cool.
on mute.
Oh no, it's all good. All good, Kerry. Okay, interesting. All right, well, let's see what happens. So what I'm hoping to see from this one is that this one down the bottom now has the 12 bars as well, or the 13 bars or whatever, and then our Jan, Feb, March turns into January, February, March, April, May. That's the idea. Okay, so I'll copy that code. Play. Hey, look at that. Beautiful. And interestingly, the lines are slightly not exactly in the right spot. Okay, so this is good. We're almost there, but we're not quite there, and that's the story of my life. All right. I wanted to increase. So is it the same here that this is the tick count? So this has got a tick count of like 6 or whatever?
I think you're using a domain for that, aren't you? Where you've actually specified the numbers.
I specified the number, didn't I? Okay, cool. All right, let's see how we get. That's great. It's working. Can we increase the? I want to say granularity, but I don't feel like that's the right word. We'll say it anyway. It'll know what I mean. Granularity of the y-axis to show a white line every degrees instead of 10 degrees. Oh, I wish I could type. Okay. That's our value. So this is the domain you're talking about, the values attribute in the, okay, so we'll wait for that to come up. Now, I think the more familiar with the language that you're using, the less you have to get it to type out all the code each time. You could probably just select a piece of code that you know is relevant and start to get it to just edit those bits and pieces. But I'm still in the place where I feel like I want to be. I want to have all of them. Okay, so here's the values. So it just literally creates an array of values. That's interesting. So now it says -10, -5, 0, 5, 10. So before it said 10, -10, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. And then the y-axis on the lower graph, that just goes 10, 50, 0, 50, 100. I wonder if that's just automatically doing that. I guess that's just an automatic one because we haven't specified. All right. Oh, well, let's copy the code. Let's edit our visual, our specification, delete that, put in the new code, hit go. We should see more white lines appear. They do. Everything seems to be working. That looks much more like Tufty's report or the New York Times' report. Let's go back and have a look at the example. Lots of lines. Every 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which is probably about 5 degrees centigrade. So I feel pretty good about that. It's beautiful. So easy. Now that we've got our technique down, we're just so good at it. Okay. I've achieved everything I wanted to do in the whole session in 3 seconds. It's the beautiful thing about ChatGPT. All right, I'm going to want to remove these labels, and I want to change the color of that, the area in the area chart, not the line. I want the line to stay the same, but the area to be a gray color. Okay, let's ask.
I would suggest, if you're asking, ask for titles to be removed rather than labels.
Titles instead of labels.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Otherwise, you'll just lose all your hard work, your hard 3-second work.
My 3 seconds of work. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Awesome. You rock. Got to be nice. Okay, the next step will be to remove the titles of the X and Y axis so that we don't show anything at all. Right, I'm getting brazen now. I'm going to change the color at the same time. I'd also like to change the color of the area in the area chart to be light gray. Leave the line color as is. Ooh, all right. Two requests in a single thing. All right. Okay, I like it. He's given us the list of what he's doing. Titles of X and Y axis are being removed. The area color of the area chart and changed to a light gray. All right, that's easy. Hopefully he doesn't add in comments, which I feel like this is the sort of thing he would start adding comments in. Oh, and then the other thing we wanted to do was tooltips. And maybe make it selectable-y and thing. I don't know. Maybe there's other cool things we can try and do. More advanced stuff that will need some more Deneb information so that it knows what to do. Right, here's my values. Looking good. True. Grid colors white. Yep. Okay. Type area. Color light gray. Line color is red. It's interesting. Am I going to get a red line now? I reckon I am. So I told it to leave it as it is, and and it said the line color is red. Set the line color as red. Keeping the line color as red. Now, in a version like 37 versions ago, I did set the line color of the average to be red. And I wonder if it's inferred that that's what it meant. But what I wanted it to do was keep it as default, which is this blue color. Anyway, that's interesting too, isn't it? Kept the line color. It's assumed the line color was red for some reason. So just a tiny little hallucination there, I reckon. Okay, see what happens? Red. Ugh. Red looks horrible. Okay, so now, although the grey works, so that's good. So no need to set it to the default color. If I just remove that line specification, is it going to just set it to default, this one? If I remove this line, what happens? Will it break? Should we try? Let's try. No one answer. I'm just going to try it. All right. Hey, it worked. All right. Okay. See, I'm smart. All right. So, now that's done. That's done. That's done, but it's not dividing up correctly. Okay. All right. So now I need everybody's opinion. Should our raindrops come from the ceiling of the rain chart, or should it be another third chart that we add all the way at the very top of the chart up here? So it's falling down through there and then landing in the rain buckets down the bottom here. What is everyone's opinion? Should I put it at the top or in the middle here? Let me know in the chat.
I think it should be dripping off the bottom of the blue
Dripping
line
off the
in
bottom
the middle.
here, right? Yeah, I kind of like that. Middle, middle, middle. Ellen votes top. Okay, I think everyone's voting middle. All right, you're outvoted. Sorry, Ellen. We're going to do it from the middle here. Okay, so then I've got a second question. Do you think we should add a third chart, which is an upside down bar chart or column chart to represent the rain? Or should we add it as a layer on top of this one? I don't even know if that's possible. Now I want to ask the gurus. So Kerry and Daniel, because I've got, that would be, it would start at 0 and go negative, right? Can I have a second chart that lives on top of this chart, which is already 0 to 100 this way, like with a second y-axis that is overlaid on top, where 0 starts at the top here and then goes down?
You can have a second axis. You would have to scale it independently to the other one so that it would take up the same space. Otherwise, it would share it. So if you were going to ask for this, you would need to say that the layer you're going to add has to scale independently of the other layer.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can invert a scale as well. So if the numbers are positive, you can make them hang down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask it to do, is, you know, multiply everything by -1 or whatever so that it'll hang down. Okay, here's what I think. People are saying if it's layered, it'll overlap or obstruct the end of month totals. I agree. I think maybe we just make
I
it
also agree.
Yeah, I think we make it a third chart. We'll make it a middle chart. That's an upside down column chart that sits in between the two that we've got here, basically where my mouse is, and shows the total rainfall for each month. Okay. All right. I know what I'm doing. Let me see if I can get this guy to do the same thing. Okay, we are adding a third chart that sits between the top and bottom charts.
So this third chart, are you doing a column chart where you're encoding data by length, or are you doing like a pictogram where you're encoding the teardrops by area? So one for each month.
I was thinking a column chart where I was encoding it by length. And then I was going to put the teardrops on the end of each bar as like a point. But so what's the alternative you're suggesting there? That it's
so kind of like a bubble chart, but in the shape of a teardrop. So you've got a raindrop for each month, and then the size of the raindrop is proportional to the data.
Oh yeah, I like that idea, but no, that wasn't what I was thinking. I think I'm going to stick with the I like your one where you had the column chart. Was that column chart that you did cumulative? No, you had It was per day, was it? Can't remember.
I would say it's per year.
Oh, per year. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go stick with the column chart idea for now. Let's see what it looks like, and we can always muck around with it. Okay, so it's between the top and the bottom chart. This chart will show total rainfall. And will be a column chart, except that the chart will be inverted. So the more rain there is, so wait, I mean 0 will be at the top. And the more rain there is on a day, the column will go down. We will feed positive values into the total rainfall measure. The line color should be light blue. Can we do this? Didn't get my question mark right, but it'll know what I mean. Certainly case. Okay, so we're going to create an inverted column chart to represent total rainfall. Yes. To make the column chart inverted, we use a Y encoding for the maximum value, i.e. 0 or whatever the maximum you want to be. And the Y just has started putting things in, but that's all right. And Y2 for the actual data values. Yes. The bars will be drawn from Y to Y2, resulting in downward bars. Yes. Here's how we incorporate it. Okay. Just the height is needed. Oh, yeah, because we're going to... It said height 100. I think that's about the same height as the other one, which is cool. And it's only giving me part of the code. Okay. The top chart's the temperature chart. Then there's this new one. The height 100 is okay. Should add a field with all zeros in your data set. Oh, interesting.
That feels like bum advice.
That's an interesting idea, isn't it? So it's thinking that we would create a zero measure, and then we add that in to show the 0. I don't know if that's how I'd approach it if I knew what I was doing. All right. And then another one called total rainfall, which is Y2. And it draws one from 0 to Y2. But it didn't try, it hasn't inverted has it inverted it anywhere? Can anyone see anything where it says it's inverted?
Nope. That should be under the Y encoding. It should say scale invert true or something similar.
This is necessary for the inverted bar chart to always start at 0 at the top. The new chart's color has been set to light blue. Okay, so it's almost there, but it's not quite because it's gone down this idea of creating a 0 field. Let me just ask it a second question. Let me go. This doesn't look right. Can we just set the Y value to 0 without a field? And can we find the total rainfall by -1 to make it negative? Or something like that. Constant value in the encoding without needing a specific field in the data set. You can also multiply the total rainfall to make it negative. So, okay, so set the y value to 0 directly. Use a calculate transform to multiply the total rainfall by -1. So now it's suggesting take the total rainfall by -1 and call it inverted rainfall. Okay. That's cool. That's a transform. Y is 0 with the value 0. Y2 is the inverted rainfall value. Okay. So that's now kind of in line with what I would expect it to do, something like that. Let's see if it works, and then I'll get the expert opinion on whether this is the right thing to do. Okay, so I need to get the, okay, this looks good. Can we update the original codes now? No comments. Okay. All right, so it's going to write out the new specification. I love Vincent's can-do attitude. Reverse true, not invert. Oh, is there a mistake in there? Let me have a look.
No, that was my mistake.
Ah, okay.
I tried to recite from memory but failed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, your human meat popsicle brain has failed you. Yep. Can you tell me which version of ChatGPT you're using? Yes, I'm using GPT-4. It's at the top here. So I'm using the good version. So 3.5, you will struggle to do this kind of stuff. You do need GPT-4. It's just better at understanding all of my silly questions. I saw someone was saying today that, like you can spend $20 a month and get the GPT-4 if you use it a lot. Like if you're me and you're using it all the time, then it's worth it. But if you don't want to spend the money and you only want to use GPT-4 occasionally, you actually just use the API, which is pay as you go. It costs you like 3 or 4 cents every time you ask a question or whatever, or maybe even a couple of bucks. But if you're only asking an occasional question, like someone was doing a comparison and they're only spending $20 every 3 or 4 months, as opposed to $20 a month for the subscription. So if you want to play around with it, then check out using the Open API, Open AI API, or even the Azure Open AI is probably cheaper to just do it on a one-off basis. So you can definitely do all this kind of stuff with that. It's probably a little bit more complicated because you got to send it an API call. But if you're familiar with that kind of stuff, then definitely worth checking out. All right. We have a new specification. It's got a whole new chart in it. It should be light blue and inverted and hanging from the top. And I'll need to create our total rainfall calculation. It's total space rainfall, all capital. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens. Let's put the measure in first. Do I have total space rainfall already set up? It's called rainfall at the moment. I'll rename it. Total space rainfall. Well, it's got a +0 at the end. Go me with my old school Power BI hacks. Okay, I'm going to add total rainfall in here just to add it to our specification. Okay, and I'm going to hit edit here. Then I'm going to select all my code over here. I'm going to delete that code. I'm going to paste in the new code. I'm going to hit the play button. Rainfall's already in there. Uh-oh. Cannot read properties of undefined reading type. Errors. Reading type. This one. No. Oh, there. Oh, type there. Cannot read properties of undefined.
Yeah, that's not necessarily an error. That's a warning.
Oh, it's a warning, sorry.
That's actually valid syntax, but it's done something somewhere.
Yeah, it's not happy. It's like this second concat. And there's that square bracket. Is it stopped concatenating them together?
It's valid JSON. It's just not valid Vega.
Yeah, yeah. So see how our vconcat starts here with a square bracket, and then it goes down to here. I'm wondering if shouldn't it concatenate all of them together? Let's have a look at a previous version of the.
I think it goes further down than that. I think it's doing
does it?
encodings because you can do encodings in layers as well.
Okay, I'll just
Because you can override encodings further down. It's quite a nifty feature.
All right, I'm going to give it the error and see if it figures it out.
Easiest way would be to fold the different parts down. You see on the left by the line numbers, you can fold the code. You can probably just check where things line up.
Oh yeah, good idea. Oh, cool. All right, well, I'll do this if it doesn't work it out itself. Let me see what. Okay, we get an error. It says this. Okay, error message indicates there's an issue with accessing a property of an undefined object. Typically, in the context of Vega Lite, this might relate to accessing a field or setting a property that isn't possibly properly defined. On inspecting the code, I found a mistake. I used the value keyword for the y-axis of the rainfall chart. Vega Lite, we don't use the value directly for encoding channels like we would in other properties. Instead, we should use a direct constant value. Okay. This should correct. I removed the Y2 channel and used the Y channel directly with the inverted field, setting a domain for the scale for a more intuitive representation. Okay, so domain 0 to -100. All right. I'm getting it to write all the code out again. Just find it easier than trying to paste it in the right spot. And it's not enough code for it to run out of tokens doing it. This is an expensive way to do it, but I just prefer to do it this way. Makes it easier for me. All right, so have a look at that. Oh, I've got to expand it all out again. It says my line color is red again. Oh, that's because I manually deleted that, didn't I? Oh, well, I'll fix that later. So it thinks it was because of this value 0, was it? Maybe. Is that what it changed? Y field type quantitative scale domain 0 to 100. We said it said value 0 here before, so I think that adjust the range if needed. Okay. Is it finished? Almost. But then where'd that? All right, I'm just going to trust it. Okay. That's all good. All right. Copy. Go. Well, we have an image again. That's good. We've got a not inverted column chart. And now this thing's very blue. Did it change the color again? It did change the color. Okay, it's weird how it just makes these little tiny changes. Got to be careful, man. I would not want to be doing like hardcore development with ChatGPT if it's going to do stuff like that. All right, I guess that's kind of the rub, though, isn't it? Very interesting. Have we fallen outside the bounds of our? Oh no, it's all good. Just that's where is that like a?
You have a bit.
Yeah, a feature. Is that a feature of the editor there where it shows you that dotted line shows you how big it is currently on the page?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
You can't. I like it. We can't programmatically resize visuals. The creator has to do it. So we try and help by showing where it will fall outside.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very helpful. Thank you, sir. All right. So we will need to probably reduce the size of everything now that we have included this, but it's not right. It needs to be, well, it's almost right. Okay,
So
we
that's
don't
basically
need to
taken negative values and inverted the axis.
yeah.
It's like double inverted.
Double inversion.
Two
Yeah.
wrongs make a right.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, this is good. This is good. We're almost there. Okay, so now what we need to do is invert the inverted axis back to so that it falls from the sky. We need to get rid of all the labels. I don't want any labels or anything. I'd just like it to be like one line and then the numbers, I think. I don't know. I'll think about that. And also these little lines don't line. Well, they line up here, but they don't line up down the bottom here. Anyway, that's because then maybe the negative. Overthinking it. All right. We're close. We're so close, people. All right, back to Vincent. Oh, he says continue generating. We have reached so the reason it says this continue generating is because Vincent didn't quite finish his thoughts here. He ran out of tokens, which means our code is now at the limit of kind of how many tokens I can probably fit in to get it to rewrite it, which things get exponentially more complicated, I suspect, if we have any more code than this. Let's see what he says if we just hit continue generating. It ran out by 1 exclamation mark.
It changed the entire sentiment of his response.
It just added that 1 exclamation mark and stopped. That's hilarious. Okay. Oh, well, there you go. Ran out of tokens. He just had to get that exclamation mark in. That's gold. Okay. Okay. This is looking pretty good. But our chart is not right. We need the rainfall chart to fall from the sky. So the bar should go from 0 at the top to negative 100 at the bottom. Move the grid lines. Actually, I kind of want to leave the month ones in. I also like to remove the horizontal lines across the chart. And remove the month titles. Right. Rainfall chart to fall from the sky. Set the Y domain to the rainfall chart to 0 to negative 100. Remove the horizontal lines across the chart. It can be done by setting the grid axis to false. Remove the month titles. We'll set the title attribute of the x-axis to null. Yeah, okay. All right. Hopefully you can get through this without running out of tokens. Come on, buddy. You've got this. Use all of your AI powers. Okay, so it decided not to write it all out. Integrate this section back into your main specification in place of the old rainfall section, and the visual should match your requirements. All right, so I'm going to try and copy this bit in. So it starts at width 1100 all the way down to axis, this Y specification at the end. All right, hopefully I can do this. Copy. All right. So that's the first one. It's the middle one, isn't it? There's the inverted rainfall. And then here's the area chart. So we're going from there all the way to here. That is my guess. And then, oh, it's not tabbed out. Oh, it'll work.
Click this banner.
Okay, still not inverted. The grid works. It's a grid false for the y-axis as well, and grid false for the x-axis. I actually wanted the grid only to be... I want the x-axis grid still, so I'm going to remove this grid false. Is that going to work? Nope. Okay. Why won't it invert? I'm going from 0 to 100, negative 100. Well, I'll just ask ChatGPT. Integrate this section and it should match your requirements. Hello. This didn't work. The chart is still going up instead of down. Okay, apparently the reason is related to the default behavior for bar charts. Bars typically start at the baseline, which is 0, and extend upwards for positive values and downwards for negative. Makes sense. By multiplying total rainfall by -1, we ensured the values were negative. We need to make sure the axis starts from 0 at the top and goes negative as it moves down. Yep. All right, I trust you. What did he do? Reverse is true. Are we really doing a double reverse? We are, aren't we? Anyway, so, gone down a rabbit hole here. Starts from 0. Okay, let's just see how it goes. Copy. Rainfall month to date. All right, so it's from this bit. 143 up to this one. Can I tab in? Oh, I can. Cool. Okay. Paste that in. And then select. About right, hopefully. We did it. Okay. Let's have a proper look at this. Whee! Rain's coming down. How do I improve this? It needs to be less of a domain. I only need 50 mil. So if it's over, so what's this total rainfall in millimeters? Let me just have a quick look at what this actually looks like. Can't see it. Get rid of this test chart. The total rainfall by date. Oh, missed. So the all-time max is 115 mils. But most of the time, it's going to be pretty small. So I like this. We should use the Power BI blue. This is a nice blue for rain. Okay, so if I set the rain thing to be a maximum of 40, then that should look better. And then if it's like 110, then oh well. That's just a crazy day. Because I don't want to set it to this as too much of an outlier. Maybe I could set it to 60. That'll cover most days. No, 40. I'm happy with 40. Well, what does 50 do? 50's there. Oh, let's go to 40. See what it looks like. It's all about the aesthetics. Okay. All right, so oh, why can't I edit? You hit the wrong thing, sorry. Using my high level Vega Light skills, I reckon I just changed this number to 40. Indeed. This is good. Yes, good. Okay. So then I want to make the bars thinner. I want to add raindrops to the end. And I'll consider myself. And I want to make it just, I think I just make it blue because that blue color is pretty good. All right. Let's change from that red color to blue. Let's edit this again. Find that blue color. Color equals blue. So I have to remove this whole line thing. I want to just keep the thing. I feel like I can just remove it all.
The line statement is there to provide a bold line on the, I presume this is the area mark. Yep. So
Yeah, it
you
is,
can
yeah.
you can, if you want to get rid of the color, you can remove the object. So that's the curly braces, and just put true there instead of the object, and it will still display the line, but it will use the default color.
Yeah. Okay. So like that.
Yep.
Okay. Grid equals true, line equals true. That's light gray. I wanted to make I'll get Power BI to do, Vincent Vega to do that. All right, let's just check it. So that's back to normal. What does it set the color of the light blue? So if we change this to just blue. Get a darker blue. If I don't set the color, it'll use the default color, won't it?
Yep.
All right. Just because that blue is too different to the other blue, I think I'm going to do that.
There is support for Power BI theme colors in Deneb as well, but if you want Vega to Vincent to answer that, you'll probably need to give him the
I'll have
doc.
to add that in. Yeah, we'll have to give it some doco. All right. Okay, well, at least it's all matching now. Yeah, it's that index. Now, up here, we changed the width of this color somewhere. Width. Mark type bar width 3. I want to do the same thing down here. So that's a mark type bar here on my width. This is the danger of getting me to type anything. All right. 3. No, I don't need a comma. E. I'm learning Deneb. I'm going to make it 2. Less. Hey. Raindrops are falling on my head. All right. The final challenge. I'm going to give it this specification now because it's got all the things I want in it. The last thing we want Vincent to do, and he can retire in glory, is to add an SVG at the end of each rain column to signify a drop. So maybe we'll get it to do a circle first, and then I'll get an SVG of a drop, and then I'll give it the SVG code. Oh, all right, okay. Okay, we are almost there. Great work.
Positive reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement. Need to keep it positive. All right. Here is the latest code with some changes. I'd like to add an SVG of a circle to the end of each column in the rainfall chart. All right, I just get this question very simple, but we'll see. Okay, add a circle at the end of each bar in the rainfall chart. We use a point mark type layered with the bar chart. So we're adding a point now. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So we create a layer, and then the layer has the point. Is that right? Is that how you should do it? Did you do it? Did you do it in yours, Kerry?
I did mine with the native visuals, so it was just a marker.
Oh, okay.
There was also the droplet one, which I did with points because that was a scatter. This will work for now, but you may need to change it for the teardrop.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask it for a circle, it's just going to give you a straight
Oh,
point.
it's going to give you a
that's
point.
basically what it is.
Good point. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to skip then. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But what we'd like to change the point to a SVG of a teardrop. All right, can we do that? Custom SVG path definitions for the shapes of points. Sick. All right, to represent a raindrop, you'll need an SVG path of a teardrop shape. Is it going to really try and make an SVG for a teardrop for me? That would be so cool. Okay, here's how you can use
Looks like
an
it
SVG.
has.
Yeah, it could come out like a smiley face or something though. That's hilarious. M10 6Q6 10 10 10. Okay, we'll see what it does. SVG path to represent a custom point shape. Find an SVG path for a teardrop. Replace the mark type from the point to a more detailed specification. In the mark object, set the type to point. Yep. And add a shape property with your SVG path values. All right, SVG hacks time. Here's a little trick, everybody. I know you've had enough of Vincent Vega and you want to see something cool. Well, here we are. This is how you make SVGs for Power BI. Well, one of the 300 million ways. You say insert, go to PowerPoint and you say insert icons. And then you go to your icons here and you type teardrop. Teardrop. Oh, hey, there's one. And here's one that's, I'm going to go with a filled one. Then it inserts a teardrop, and then you right click on this and you say save as picture. And then you say, see, it says scalable vector graphics. Look at that. Teardrop. .svg. I'll save it to my pictures. And then I go into my pictures. And I open the teardrop.svg with Notepad. Or some other text-based editor. Notepad's not here, so Notepad. Now it said an SVG path. Now this is where we need to learn a bit more about SVGs. So this is the path values of that SVG right here. The question is, I guess we can only use, that will only be the outline of it. It won't be the fill and everything, I don't think. But that's cool. I can live with just the path values. But we're going to copy these path values out of here and I'm going to paste them into that code. And then I'm going to be a kind of clever clogs. All right. So the first thing we need to do is get our, this is our point. Actually, how much code did it give me here? It gave me the whole code for that thing again. All right, so let me copy this. Copy this first, paste this in, which is hopefully from there. Grid white, inverted rainfall. That's the, no, yeah, that's the one we want. Paste this in, grid false to there. That has, I think that was the same, was it? The same as what we already had, maybe. I know that was the point. Do we have the point in here? Oh, yeah, mark point. Here it is. Mark point, and then that comes to say, okay, cool. And then it said to change the point mark to include the SVG path, right? So we add in this shape thing here after the type point. So where's our type point? I went too far. Inverted rainfall, mark point. Wait, this is different. Mark
Because
type
if you
point.
you can specify the
the
default mark type and it will just draw a basic mark, or you can provide an object with a lot more context.
I
So as
see.
soon
I
as you
see,
want
I
to
see.
style it
Yeah.
more at a
Yeah.
high degree of complexity, you gotta provide an object. So that's what it's done.
I see. That makes sense. Okay, so I just copied this little bit out here and replace this bit here. And then tidy it up. Get rid of the comments.
If you want to auto tidy up the JSON, by the way, there's a little wrench icon on the toolbar. You can click that and it'll tidy it up.
It'll tidy it up. Oh, that's nice. Okay, yeah, well, that's very handy. I'm going straight into the teardrop path. Not even going to check to see if the circle works. All right. Then we paste in here and then hit the wrench, and that tidied it all up for us. And hit play. Did it already do that?
Yeah, it does when you click it. It will auto apply it.
I don't see any teardrops. Color blue. Shouldn't there be blue teardrops at the end of this? Okay, so let's just try it with the circle, just in case that teardrop thing's too crazy. Or whatever this is. No, nothing. All right, it's not working. One of those situations I really want to zoom in and see if there's a tiny little something or other on the end. I can't see anything. Okay, I'll say.
You can zoom in the preview.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Man, just so useful.
So in the bottom right, the preview area, there's a little
Oh, there's a
slider.
little zoom button. Oh, cool. Yeah, well, there's definitely no marks at the end of these. All right, it's not working. That is it because I need to add in a second calculation? No, it's using inverted rainfall. Which is
It should
right.
inherit that.
Yep. Value blue, size 50. I guess 50 is big enough.
It should be.
All right. You can't see any arc at the end of each bar. Let's refine the approach. It's got another teardrop path it's come up with. Okay. It says size 100 field is true. Okay, that's interesting. So it's gotten a bit more clever. All right, let's try. Come on, we're almost there. It's 1 o'clock. We got this. Let's start with transform now. I'm going to get it to write out the whole spec.
Oh no, I think that's actually right. I think the one that was there before was wrong because the transform was in one of the layers, and then that means your point layer wouldn't see it. I missed that. If you put a transform at the top, both layers underneath will see it. So that I think is more correct.
That's more correct. Okay, well, let's try that. So he's saying from here, there should have been a transform. Oh, there's a transform there.
There is, but it's in the top layer. So that inverted rainfall that's being calculated is only seen in the scope of that bar. It's not seen by the point.
Okay. Let's try that. Wrench away. Reload. Ooh, that inverted rainfall's changed a little bit. Oh, what? What's going on? Wait, there's a giant teardrop. Oh, look at the shape it gave us.
I can't see anything. Can I have a look? I can only see the ChatGPT.
Oh, really?
Ah.
Oh.
No, I think you might be lagging a bit, Kerry.
Yeah, a bit of lag.
Yeah, well, I do have data capped.
Fair enough.
What is going on there?
So it's added a second.
It's a river god.
That's hilarious. Oh, I think the SVG might be too hard. I'm not sure I can do it this session. All right, I'm going to try one more time. So it's sitting next to it now.
So point marks have a really small bounding box, Greg. So SVG being the coordinate system that it uses inside. So you've got some pretty big numbers in there.
Okay.
So I think it ranges from -1 to 1, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it is 1 to 1.
Yeah.
So you need the center point at 0, which can be hard to draw.
Yeah, see, that's too big a path already because there's a 50 in there and a 30 and a 70.
So these numbers are too big. Is that what we're saying?
Yes. So you might be able to prompt to say the SVG bounding box is -1 to 1. Could you rescale it?
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, look at it go. Doing calculations. Cool. All right. I won't bother. I'll just see if I can get it to work with this. All right. So we'll copy this new version. Oh, it's gone back to the width, height, and then the transform. So maybe that decided that was the correct way to do it.
No, that's just lower down. It's still the same scope. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Edit. You have to find the code. This is why I don't like it. I might prefer to write it all out. Okay. I think it's this one. Starting from transform. And go. And then we'll change the shape mark. I think we just need to change that one line, don't we? Everything else is the same. And wrench. Please work. Oh. There's teardrops, but they're oh god, it went to 0. Okay. My mouse has done something.
There's a little
crazy.
reset button you can click to get 100%.
Okay. Stay there. But the teardrops are there, but they're at the bottom. And on the right. Oh, and they're showing at 0. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. 0 rain.
So they're not correctly in their
They're not
bounding
aligned the
box.
same way.
So they're offset. You need to offset them or get them correctly in the bounding box. But they're there.
They are there. It's technically possible to do. All right. I don't think I can do this in the time we have allocated. But I learned a lot. I really want that to work. Okay, I'm going to fix that in my own time, and then I'm going to post it, and everyone can see it. Oh, can I apply the changes? Yes. That was nice. Little apply changes button, Daniel.
Thank you. It's important.
Okay, so the things that are wrong with it, it's pretty good. But the things that are wrong with it is these lines don't go to the end of months. We don't have any tooltips, and we don't have the little raindrops at the end of the columns. But my goodness, we're close. So I'm going to fix it. I don't think I can do another session on me mucking around with ChatGPT trying to make Deneb work. I think the moral of the story is, though, if you use an iterative kind of approach, you can actually get ChatGPT to do some pretty complex stuff. It's pretty amazing that we could get, like, I don't know, if you showed me this visual and said, hey, I want you to build this as a custom visual using Deneb, can you give me a quote on how long you think it's going to take? I would say several weeks. And it's taken us 3-hour-long sessions, right? So let's say 4 hours. That's like half a day of work to produce something that is pretty close, if not, it's not all the way there, but it's very close to being. And the last 5%, of course, will probably take the same amount of time again. But that's pretty impressive. That's amazing, actually. So
I'm
I
very
think it's
impressed. I am very, very impressed. So you earned your beer.
Earned my
I'll
beer.
have to fly over and grab you one.
Next time I see you at a conference, Kerry, I'm going to hit you up for that beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's been a really good exercise in learning, not only learning a bit more about Deneb and what's possible and what's not possible from my perspective, but also using ChatGPT to build something a little bit more complex that you couldn't write a single prompt and get it to output what we've done here, right? You have to iteratively come up with this solution over time. And I think we're, that basically unlocks a whole range of things that you can potentially do using ChatGPT as your kind of as your co-pilot, so to speak. So a very interesting experiment. We've lost our grid lines on our main chart as well. Man, I've got some things to fix up. Anyway, I'm gonna do all those fixing upping stuff, and I'll post the results. See, I'll let you know how I go. But that's it. That's Lunch and Learn. I'd like to thank Kerry Kolosko and Daniel Marsh-Patrick for joining me today. I appreciate your help, guys. I couldn't have done it without you. Well, I would have been very confused anyway.
Thank you for doing it. It's been really great watching the process. It's very similar to what we do as humans. We're just sort of like continually iterating and working away at it.
Absolutely. You just got somebody that can write the code really fast for you, sitting by your side. So if you haven't had a chance to have a play around with generative AI to do this kind of stuff, I think it's worth it. You can potentially save yourself a lot of time, and you can build some pretty cool stuff. I definitely will be using it for all sorts of fun things. Got lots of side projects that I want to use it for. So very good. Well, I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Next time, I don't know I'll see how far I get with fixing this one up. But next time, what I want to do, I want to maybe mess around with the DAX code for this. So we might have a session on doing some DAX around fixing up this normal band because it's not right now. And so maybe we'll do a DAX session. That'll be fun. So feel free to come back. See you next week. Otherwise, yeah, have a great weekend, and yeah, we'll see you soon.